we are practicing yoga, but most of the time we are not very serious
Sure.
because, like I say, we can smile in a class. We are not in a funeral, so let's enjoy.
Welcome back. It's season 3 of Off the Mat. We're also celebrating 4 years of Men of Yoga, and today, here to celebrate with me is my bestie in Portugal, Mr. Lino. So sit back, grab your popcorn, and enjoy the show. Hello, darling friend Lino.
Hello, hi, good morning or good afternoon.
Yeah, what time is it there in Portugal?
It's 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Okay, it is 9. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock over here in California. Thank you so much for making time for me today, sir.
Thank you for the invitation.
So, for our viewers out there, super excited for today's episode because one, it's our third season, and two, Men of Yoga is celebrating 4 years.
Then,
February, yeah, February 2025 is our 4 year anniversary, which means my anniversary with you, Lino, and Ashley and Marquis would be 4 years. And so my hope is that in addition to chatting with you today, I'll also get to chat with Marquise and with Ashley. So we'll see if the stars aligned. And if I can get to do that, that would be amazing. So happy anniversary, baby.
thank you. Happy anniversary for you too.
So before we can just jump right into it. So for the viewers out there, I know I've been saying this ever since we've created this podcast. So Men of Yoga, which is very popular now on Instagram and on Facebook, originally came from the idea of having an OnlyFans. Yes, folks, yes, OnlyFans. And obviously it wasn't like porn that was on our mind. It was really more presenting art, and naked yoga, and just presenting yoga and yogis in a different light. And we thought that the content that we want to produce for that couldn't be on any other platform. And so we jumped on OnlyFans right away. And so the idea was for us to get people who are in the naked yoga space, even in photography space, to participate to see if that's something that they'd want to do. And I started looking into Instagram, and that's where I saw and met you, Lino, and I met Ashley and Marquise. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce everybody to Lino, my original collaboration content creator. Hi, Lino.
Hi. Hi.
I know that was a lot, right?
Yes, it's crazy that it's already 4 years. It looks like was yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, totally. So let's start. Let's tell our viewers and our guests, give us a little bit of insight about you, how you started yoga. Let's start from the base. Let's talk about you and your yoga discovery, and then let's grow from
Okay,
there.
so it was strange because when I was very young, and when I say very young, from 5 years old until 12 years old, I had a lot of curiosity in music. That is the studies that I did. I'm a singer. As a what I study was music, and I always thought that to become a yoga teacher, instructor, you had to go to India. So I put that on my side. Forget it. It's impossible. It's very far away. It's very expensive to go there. And for many years, I always looked to yoga like a thing that I would love to do it. But I followed the music path. And in 2004, I was working in Lisbon and I went to a gym and I saw in the schedule of classes that there was yoga class. So I went to a yoga class and was one of the hardest things that I'd done in my whole life because they had several yoga classes through the week and some were just yoga and the other ones were yoga body in shape, and they had cycling and cycling body in shape, and all the classes that were body in shape were a little bit harder. So I had a lot of direction amazing that I went to yoga body and shape. In the day after, I couldn't move my body. All my body had aches, except from the neck to here. I was kind of like a robot, can't move my body, but I have a problem on my spine. I have hernia and I don't have a disc that I destroyed when I was younger. And I have a lot of pain on my back, on my lower back. And since that class, my lower back never hurt again. So I started
Wow.
practicing yoga in 2004, and I went to yoga teachers training because I was trying several methods to try which school I wanted to follow. And in 2016, I went to Yoga Integral. It's a method that integrates several methods. But in 2008, I started working as an instructor, fitness instructor. So I have a lot of background. I was an instructor of body balance. I don't know if you know. And but in 2015, I started my yoga teachers training. In 2016, I was invited to join the team of the teachers of for the yoga teachers training because of my technique. My master says that was amazing, and I think the invitation for starting teaching naked yoga starts around 2017. And in my mind, I was, no, no way, no way. I'm ashamed of showing my body. It's impossible. Never gonna do this, never gonna do this. Until 2020, I went to a desert beach here in Portugal with my boyfriend and a friend. And that friend, he was a yoga student, and we started practicing yoga and acro yoga. And I shared some of the photos of my Instagram that you found, and then came the invitation for the Men of Yoga.
That's amazing. May I ask, what is it that crossed your mind in 2017 where you even thought like, what is this all about? Was it like a practice? Was it a video? Was it a particular teacher or student? Like, how did that
The,
even, the naked yoga, you said 2017 is where it crossed your mind, but you didn't actually get into it till you went to the desert.
because I start receiving a lot of message on Instagram. Why you don't teach naked? Why you don't teach
Oh,
naked? No
yeah.
way. It's
Oh, I
impossible
see.
for me.
Nice, nice. Wow. So I met you, you're still a fresh blooming flower.
Yes. No, I think it was you. Nothing happens just because you send me the invitation when I start to enjoy my body. I don't having afraid of show my body. It's when I went start to going to naked beach in Portugal. It was on that time. So you have a lucky because you found me in the present moment that I was more welcome to show my body without fear, without the shame.
I
That
love
was
that.
the
That's awesome, man. And so, so do you remember that very first impromptu meeting that we had when we had like all these faces on screen? Because we were all in pandemic mode. Remember that? We were in
mm-hmm.
pandemic mode, and Aaron and I didn't know what we were doing. We had a vision. We one thing that you can count on me and Aaron is like when something's not working, we'll work on something else. You know what I mean? Like we don't get stuck, we don't get fixated, we don't worry. We just say, well, we'll just take our skills and apply it here. Maybe it'll work. It was actually Aaron that whispered in my ear about considering OnlyFans or looking at OnlyFans. And, and of course, I was afraid to do it myself because one, that's a space that I don't really, I practice naked here at home, but I haven't practiced like, I don't have a regular naked practice in public. And two, because we own a studio, I was just afraid of some kind of backlash or getting canceled. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yes.
there's a little bit of like risk for us, and so I thought the easiest plan is for me to be the person that can actually coordinate and manage, and all I would need from everybody is to provide their content, and we will take it from there. And I think it really worked out until until OnlyFans tightened up on their what's the way to say it, on their permissions and who can be, you know what I mean, like who can be on your page. So that was a little bit of a hiccup there, but I remember that we lost our account and then we bounced back. Like I think it took a year for us to get back into it.
Hmm.
You know, do you remember the specialty that you and I came up with? It's called Three Ways with
Three ways.
Lino.
3 ways with Lino.
Do you remember that? I think it came up like maybe 4 or 5 segments. I forget, but it was 3 ways for you to prepare for a sexual pose or performance, sexual performance.
Yes.
Remember that? Remember that there's going to be 3 different poses, or 3 different.
It was a kind of headache to try to get new things about to put on the 3 ways, and so it was a nice challenge. And one thing is, even today, there are people that sometimes send me message, oh, how can I gain flexibility to be a bottom? And so that thing that I did for you helped me even today to help people, for the sexual part, or even for the some poses.
Yeah. Every time I think of that, Lino, I'm like, I swear, man, like my mind starts to go and look at situations that you would have in private and the things that you would do, not just in bed, but things that you might do, random places, uh, countertop, uh, in the shower. We have this idea that sex looks a certain way, but when it comes to gay men, we are pretty freaking creative. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
indeed.
Even when,
Indeed.
yeah. So while we're on this topic, I wanna sprinkle this idea just in case that you're like, oh, maybe I'll go back and doing that. I think about like when we have sex with our partner in the shower, when we do like a quote unquote a reach around. Like if you don't have shoulder and wrist mobility, that's gonna jack you up. And if you don't switch hands,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily have to be about hips or the spine. Sometimes your shoulders need a little bit of like yoga as well. So I just want to sprinkle that in the event that like, maybe I'll go back to that and let's collaborate on something like that, Lino, and let's bring it let's bring it back to the masses. I'm thinking that you already are growing your follower base.
Yes. I'm not being very constant.
Mhm.
I have a lot of things to do in my life right now, and I stopped for a few months. My mother passed away almost 1 year ago, and um, she was fine in the day before, and she was found dead on her birthday. So it was kind of hard for me. Even today, I'm not feeling quite well because it was too fast. And so I stopped for a few months. I couldn't record anything. I didn't have have to create new content. And so I started again, and I've been trying to do at least one content per week. And sometimes I take some photos in the morning wood, to enjoy my followers. And I'm always trying to receive message to ideas what I can do next. So
Mhm. Yeah, I remember that moment. It was so, we lose a loved one, our parents. It's so difficult, and it's so difficult to, we're here in California. Like all I can do is send love on text. So yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, but yeah, it's hard to think of mom and think of content at the same time, my friend. Yeah.
yes, I try to always focus that life goes on.
Hmm.
And she's nice now. She's with my father up there, and they are happy together like she always wanted. And one
Hmm.
of my biggest fears was that my mother discovered that I was teaching naked yoga and I was recording content for OnlyFans, and now she sees everything.
Is she a religious Catholic?
Yes.
Ah, okay, yeah. So is my mom. so is my mom. And the funny part is like the set that you see here. I'm actually on the second floor, and we stay with my mom 3 to 4 times during the week, and we stay by the studio for the rest of the time. So when I'm doing my stuff here, she's downstairs. So she's kind of involved, but not directly and not consciously.
It's better that way.
Yeah. I know that sometimes that she hears mass on TV around the same time I'm practicing naked yoga here. It's a nice balance. Yeah. I'm gonna
It's
leave
a
you. I'm gonna
blessed
Yeah.
content.
I want to honor your mom really quick since and I'll have another question for you. Can you share a little bit of like what is it that your mom left you with in terms of life skills or a talent or something that that I learned this from my mother?
So, the passion for music started with my mother. She sang
Hmm.
in the choir when she was younger, so it's my biggest thing. And I think it's the chocolate mousse that I learned with her. Then I approved, and everybody loves my chocolate mousse. My nephews are crazy, and some party, a birthday or Christmas or New Year's Eve, if I don't do that chocolate mousse that I learned with her, they kill me. No, but there's a lot of things in terms of education. My mother always stayed at home. She didn't work because she had to take care of her mother-in-law and her father-in-law and her grandfather-in-law and aunt grandfather-in-law. My mother always took care of the elderly of the family, so she stayed always at our home. She didn't work, was just my father working. And I learned a lot of things about respect the other people. I think it was one of the biggest lessons that I learned from
Mm.
her. And to laugh, she was a very happy person, not in the end of the life after my father passing, but she was a very crazy person, always making jokes, always laughing, singing. Um, not in the last years, but she loved music, and we were always changing CDs from classical singers or just non-classical singers. But I think it was that she taught me more. It was education,
Mhm.
respect the other people, and music,
That's
and the
amazing.
chocolate mousse, and the chocolate mousse.
The chocolate was, yeah, yeah. It always brings me comfort. My dad, super impactful in my life, and so when he passed, I have to remind myself. And when I catch myself doing things, saying things, I am reminded like, oh, he's still here. You know what I mean? I'm still doing the things that he does, or his impression has he's left this impression that I continue to practice. And so whatever life lessons I needed from him, I definitely picked that up and I'm moving on with it. I'm moving forward with it. So thank you for sharing that. Super personal, man. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. So let's take off our shirts and talk a little more naked. This this
No
is the portion.
problem.
This is the portion of the show, folks, where we start to strip tease. So okay, so tell me a little bit more about like your journey since you've started the OnlyFans, because I know I've been paying attention. You've also got a couple of, or you have at least like one other platform or Instagram page where you want people to participate if they want to join your group, because you now went from online to in person. You
Hmm.
want to, yeah, I want to tell our viewers and our listeners about like, okay, so we started OnlyFans and you had your own page and you start to grow that. I start to grow my page. We separated, broke up because of OnlyFans restrictions. You moved forward, I moved forward. Tell us what has happened since your OnlyFans page.
So I start trying to share content that I was creating for OnlyFans. So I created a Twitter account, and when I start putting on Twitter and sometimes on my closed friends on Instagram, a few guys started to ask me again, why do you don't open in-person classes in Lisbon? Go ahead, go ahead. So I tried to found a place where I could teach because a lot of people have problems with the nudity and they think that we're gonna do orgies and something. So I discovered a tantra school in Lisbon and through a friend, and they loved the idea. So I started teaching there. And in the beginning there was just two students, and when one missed was just alone. And then there were three, four, five, six, and now the average students that I have on my class, it's 12. So it's a huge group. We have a WhatsApp group where we are always sharing stuff, crazy stuff,
Hmm.
interesting things, or let's dinner, have a dinner, and we go all dinner, or we go to the beach or to the theater. And it's a crazy group. I love them. It's my favorite class. I teach yoga with clothes too because of the yoga teachers training, but it's my favorite class because they are all crazy. Sometimes we make bullying to each other.
Hmm.
I make bullying to them and they make bullying to me. And it's a funny class because we are practicing yoga, but most of the time we are not very serious
Sure.
because, like I say, we can smile in a class. We are not in a funeral, so let's enjoy. When you are doing a pose, of course you have to be focused on the amount of breath that you stay in the pose or the amount of how you feel your body in the pose. But there always someone moaning of pain in my class.
Well, let's hope
And
it's moaning. Let's moaning from pain.
so it's a funny thing.
Yeah.
I love that class. And it's funny, the group that I wanted to create in Lisbon is uh, I wanted all kind of ages, and the youngest guy that I had there was 21, and
Hmm.
the older, it's making today 70 years old.
Good for
Yes, I
him.
have that. Like I told you, I have a birthday party after. It's a guy from California, and he lives in Lisbon, and he's been my student since almost the beginning.
Yeah,
Almost
that's
the
amazing.
beginning.
Yeah.
And he's doing 70 today. And we have very skinny guys, we have obese guys, we have guys bare, and we have guys without any kind of air in the body. Um, and
Hmm.
it's funny because I love to have different people from different countries in the same room, and we learn a lot uh, with that because there are some, for example, the Latinos are more warm people, and people from the northern countries, or I have one guy from Russia but from Siberia, and it was a kind of different of energy that he had even in the hugs because we start the class with naked hugs, and his energy was completely different from one guy from Brazil, for example. And
Hmm.
it's funny to discover this difference in our class.
I love that. You didn't mention anything about a gay community. Does it not matter, or do you also cater to gay, not gay, questioning? Like, is it not just? Are you catering to men in general and not saying gay men's group?
I want that. But of course, all gay men starting, oh, I'm doing naked yoga with one guy, and they bring another gay guy. So I most of the class it's gay or bisexual. I
Okay,
had one straight, but the problem in Portugal, the straight guys are not very, how can I say, comfortable on their own sexuality, and
sure.
probably they have afraid of going there.
I see.
And even the owner of the school, he's a tantra teacher. and he says, "Oh, most of the guys, oh, I'm comfortable being naked, but if it's to have a hug, they have problems of giving hugs." And he's not, and the owner of the place, if he
Hmm.
needs to give me a naked hug, he gives me a hug, all the body connecting. But he says that most of the guys are afraid and they give
Hmm.
hugs like this with the butt pointing out.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. I would give the option. Do you want me to hug you from the front or the back? What do you prefer? Front or back?
And in the retreats, because we make yoga retreats, we have the normal hugs, and I have the snail hug.
What is that?
I I know most of the people don't know what is it. So we are in a circle, all hugged, and I start hugging the person that is in front of me, and we start to enroll all
Hmm.
together. So I have person in my side, on my front, and my back. So we are all hugged, a big
Yeah.
group,
Oh,
like a
nice.
snail, all we, and then
Nice.
we have to unfold everything. So funny.
Oh, how fun is that? I'd like to see a photo of that. That looks amazing. That looks really like super connection, right? Like bring it in. Bring it in, brother.
And one thing that I love more in that class, we end the class with the Om chanting. We sing three Oms,
Mhm.
and it's so amazing when it's all men singing the Om. The energy is huge,
I bet.
huge.
I
And
bet.
it's completely different because I've already done with ladies and men together in a circle, and it's not the
Mhm.
same thing. When
Mhm.
it's just men, whoa, it's amazing.
Wow, how cool is that, man? Do
You have to
you
try it.
So this is, yeah, I'd love to. So when you have your classes, this is a standard class that you have like regular now, weekly, and I know that you also do retreats. Now that's separate, right?
Uh, because of the class, I just have time. And most of the classes that I teach in Portugal, it's 1 hour. And 1 hour, it's impossible to do everything that you want. So we start thinking on making yoga retreats where we have meditations, standing and seated meditations. We have dynamic meditations, yoga practice, and other activities. For example, the last yoga retreat, we had mandala painting, painting mandalas, and I took a workshop of mandalas. So after they painting the mandalas, I will interpretate what the mandala says, and this was very very funny, and they loved how I could understand what was their afraid, what was them inside that most of the people didn't know. And so in we have some tantra exercises to more to engage the connection with your body and with your eyes closed and feeling more. And in class, we don't have time for that. That's why I'm teaching 2 classes per week, but I'm doing 1 or 2 retreats per year with them. And in all retreats, there are people that never came to my class and they go to directly to the retreat. So it's gonna be a crazy thing. We have another one in July in the south of the country, but the place is on the mountain. So we see all the things in front and you see the ocean in the end. It's going to be amazing place.
Yeah, I saw images of it. It's so gorgeous. I have another colleague friend who you might know him, Rodrigo. Yeah,
Hmm.
he did a
I
retreat
think.
there as well. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no. Normally I go to Casa Risa and
Yes,
Rodrigo has been there, but now
yes.
I'm going to try a new one that
Oh,
I
this is a new one.
heard and I
Okay.
was in that new one. It's on the mountain, in the top of the mountain.
Oh,
So
I see.
this
Okay.
year I'm gonna try a new place, but I'm open to invitations for Casa Risa if they want. I
Yeah.
love the place. They have the amazing place. It looks like a tropical hotel resort.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
It's amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm going to segue really quick and I'll bounce back to your adventures. I'm looking to book Rodrigo also for the show at some point. And just in the event that his English is limited, would you be willing to join us for a conversation to help the conversation flow?
So he's speaking in Spanish and I translate to English.
I want to say Spanish. Yeah, I think so because he's in Argentina. So I think that you speak Spanish too, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. 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 I just want to put that. I just want to put that wish out there and manifest that because I would love for him to join us as well.
The Spanish from Argentina, for me, it's
Hmm.
easier to understand than the Spanish from Spain.
Yeah.
Spanish for Spain, they talk like this. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult to understand. Yeah, and if
Yes.
they speak very quickly, it's
Yeah.
awful.
I know that Castilian because of the there's a lot of
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Okay, well,
that's the problem.
I'm gonna put that out in the universe. So tell me about let's tell our viewers and listeners too. Uh, do you have any pro tips in terms of people who might start, because I'm thinking that naked yoga has finally it's becoming a little bit normalized. I don't know about your experience, but first of all, I want to backtrack a little bit. How many naked yoga teachers are there where you're at? Because I
So,
think you're the only one that I know of in Portugal.
no, I'm not the only one right now. Before me was a guy that I know from social media, and for the things that I heard, he was a very good teacher. But he had a problem. It was just for a gay man, and he decided to quit the to finish the classes because there were a lot of comments. Oh, that fat guy is going, so I'm not going. Oh, that one is going, so I'm not going. And he's became sick of it, and he thought to quit the classes. So he finished the class before COVID, and I started after COVID, and there was a guy in Oporto, and he was following me, and I started going to Porto to teach workshops of 3 hours of naked yoga. And he started asking me, how can you put so many people together in Porto, and I'm in Porto and I can't? Tell me how. And I one thing I told him, it's I'm just going twice, 3 times a year to Porto. So it's normal. Since I'm not going every week, they manage to get together more times. But I start sending me people that contact me on Instagram. Oh, do you teach on Porto? So I'm sending to him, and he sends me people that contact him, asking of teachers in Lisbon. So we are sharing
Mhm.
contact of students. And the other day I thought it. I think it can be a very happy thing, me and him together teaching and workshop with my students and their students. I think like the first meeting of naked yoga in Portugal.
Mhm.
I'm thinking of that, and I love his job. I know he's very straight on teaching, and he's not making all this stuff. And there's in Lisbon one guy that teach every month a class,
Mhm. Mhm.
and there's another guy. He's teaching naked yoga. I think it's once per week, but he's
Mhm.
making other stuff in the middle and in the end with masturbation. So
Oh, oh
for
yeah.
me, that is not yoga.
Right. Yeah.
One thing is yoga, one thing it's sexual or tantra.
Sure.
Because in my way of viewing tantra, it's much more than sex. If
Right.
you read books of tantra sex, it's just 6% or 7% of tantra. Tantra, it's much more thing than the sexual part. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
uh, but yoga classes, normal yoga classes, it's me, one guy in Lisbon, and one guy in Porto, and I think it's just us.
Mm. Okay. I mean, that's three in Portugal.
Portugal is not a big country, so
Right. I think California is like way, 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 way bigger. You know,
yes, I think
I
California is bigger than Portugal and Spain together,
oh, I bet,
much
I bet,
bigger.
and we have bigger attitudes too. So way bigger attitudes, way bigger egos. Everything's just bigger here. What? So tell me a little
I
bit about
can
like
be
how
so mean now.
I know, right?
Big egos, but smaller things.
Big egos, but not that big. You've
No,
seen
I don't
lots of
know. I don't know.
Californians. You're so funny. Tell me, so give us some pro tips, my friend. So tell me how, let's share a little bit of like, if I was just starting in the naked yoga space, let's just say as a student, what would you recommend to students? Like, how would you give them comfort and give them safe space for those who are looking into practicing? Let's just say that we're inviting new people to the class. They've never done naked yoga before.
I'm gonna say which I say to everyone who sends me a message. Oh, I would love to try your class. What I can know about the class. So in my class, we work out pranayama, we work out the asana, and we have the relaxation in the end. And we start the classes with naked hugs. And we started with the naked hugs because there was always one guy that get hard, and most of the guys that were very well experienced in naturism and naked beach, they didn't get hard. So to avoid this, I started doing okay. Let's start everybody with a naked hug, so everybody gets a boner, and no one's gonna be ashamed because he's not the only one. That's why I started with the naked yoga. Having a boner for me, I think it's a natural thing, and thank God we have a boner. We don't know in 40 years if we are willing to raise it.
Yeah.
And last Friday, I was teaching on naked yoga online class, and was a guy from Canada, and he told me if you have a boner hugging me, for me it's the best compliment that I
Yeah.
know that I turn you on.
Yes.
The energy, because
Hmm.
sometimes even people that I don't feel attracted as a man, and that already happened. I have a student, he's kind of fat. I'm not into fat guys, sorry, and kind of bare, a lot of hair on his body. And he's not the kind of guy that turns me on naturally as a gay man. But when I hug him, it's impossible. The energy starts flowing, and I
Hmm.
get a bump. It's
Yeah.
funny. And
Yeah.
it's funny because energy doesn't have the top and bottom, the
Right.
I
It does.
like
It
younger
does.
or
Yeah.
older.
Yeah. It doesn't have an image. It doesn't have a. Yeah. It doesn't have a standard.
And so when they have a boner and I see that they have boners, what I do, I try to make some poses to put the energy flowing, and so they can expand that energy and
Hmm.
make it flowing through the body. And I think it's very important. If you don't do that, probably you're gonna feel pain on your testicles because the energy is blocked there. And um, and I normally say them, you start with a boner, but since you start the asana, the poses, the blood it's needed in other parts of your body, and you going down. Don't worry, that's perfectly normal.
Nice.
And that's it's what I say. I give options in all poses, easier options, harder options for everybody for every levels, because I have very stiff guys that can't move, and I have ballerinos,
Hmm.
dancers,
Hmm.
professional dancers in my class. So when I have to give several options, and I'm always taking care of some poses that might be dangerous for our testicles, for our penis to not smashed. Um, that's it. That's
Mm.
the things that I say to the new guys, and let it flow. Oh, but I'm afraid. Some guys tell me. should I masturbate before the class?
Yeah.
And normally I say, I done that in my two first classes that I teach. Now I don't do that. My advice is don't do it. You're gonna enjoy much more your class
Yeah,
than
when you have the energy.
masturbating before.
Right, right. Because you're surrendering all that energy, all that prana, all that chi out there before you bring it to class with you. I always, not that I teach teach naked yoga, when it comes to having your boners and erections, like you better embrace that shit because once you turn 50 and older, it takes a little longer. And hopefully it still functions in a natural setting where you don't have to take a pill or, it takes a little more patience, right? You know, a vision came to mind when you were saying that you did like a hug. I'm like, okay, Lino, I need 5 more longer minutes.
Sometimes
It's
they are
just yeah,
crazy.
just give me 5 more minutes. Just give me 5 more minutes. But you forget
Sometimes they
in
say,
yeah.
sometimes they say, can the class be just hugs and relaxation? We skip the part of pranayama and the poses.
Can we just do windshield wiper for 10 minutes? I don't know if you ever, I don't know what it's like over the gym setting for you guys over there, but we have what they call bay showers here in our gyms. At least they used to. Where the bay showers, there's no partitions, there's no covering, it's just shower heads, and the guys get to shower pretty much in a group. And there is no gay straight when it comes to being in a gym setting, right? Everybody's there just to pump up, beef up, whatever intention they set out to do. We end up in the shower before we get back to work, whatever. And it never, I remember it never ever fails. The moment somebody gets a boner, the other person gets a boner, the other gets a person gets a boner. And if it was not that, if it wasn't that busy in the shower, some people will go to the next level, whatever it is that they're going to do. But I find it interesting that it just takes one person, and it could be energy, and it doesn't have to be it doesn't necessarily mean sexual attraction per se, but there's something about noticing somebody coming to life, and then you come to life. It's erotic. It's erotic to
Yes.
see your peers functioning, and it brings you you can't help but be functional with them, is what I'm saying. You know,
We don't
so
have that in Portugal. That normally they have
the bay
the
shower. See, yeah, see, we're also
but
slutty. We're slutty here in California.
but
Slutty with
even
big
on my
egos.
classes, it's funny, even in my classes, there are people that are so used to hug people that they don't have a boner at
Yeah.
all. And for me, it's very rare to get a boner in the class. When I teach private yoga classes, because there
Mhm.
are few people that I have as student, they are kind of, let not say famous, but they have very important jobs. They are known, so they want the privacy. And when I'm teaching private naked yoga classes, it's very normal for me to get a boner. But on the group classes, it's very rare. And it's funny because in the hugs, sometimes it's the new guy just takes the underwear out, and it's already straight. And when he starts hugging the other guys start having a boner too.
Oh yeah.
And everybody likes to see it. Let's be
I mean,
honest.
why would you look at your Virabrajasan one and say that's beautiful and not acknowledge your body being beautiful as well? You know what I mean? Like it's
Yes.
I am so body and sex positive. It's like God gave you what God gave you, and hopefully it all functions well, because at some point when you don't get that, that's another problem not to deal with. Not a problem. That's another nuance that you might have to deal with, you
Hmm.
know? So
Yes.
hats off to guys, boners, and natural response.
It's wonderful. I think it's wonderful to see. And one of the thing, it's amazing. It's no one judges.
Yeah,
No
right.
one judges the boner, and everybody says, "Oh, I love to see a guy hard. I love."
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's a small dick or a huge dick. We
Yeah.
have all in the class, and everybody likes, and everybody feels okay. I can be myself and get a boner, and no one judge me, and everybody says, "Okay, you're welcome to hug me. Come here."
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's funny.
How many times did I, how many times have I uh, asked you, nudge you, say, Lino, we need a little more sexuality in your videos. Come on, Lino, let's show. You know what I mean? It's like it's so awkward and uncomfortable for me because I feel like, oh my God, I'm asking my collaborators to put out more than what they're used to, you know, and I'm thinking, I need clickbait here, baby. We're not gonna get we're not gonna get fans if we're not showing giving them what they want, you know, but there's that, you said it earlier, there's this line that, you know, sex and yoga, and for me with our OnlyFans, that is not one thing that we don't want to do. It's like I don't want to mix the two because once you start, you know, putting out sex, it's like that's all people are going to want to see, and it's hard to go back from that, you know.
That's it. That's the problem of OnlyFans. And I
Yeah.
talked already with Ashley many months ago. We were talking about that, the difficulty of keeping your content serious and not going to sex, because it's so much easier if you go to the sex direction and then you start doing sex. You start doing yoga with sex, and then you are doing sex, and
Yeah.
when you see, it's impossible to come back again because no one wants to see again your yoga classes. And I
Yeah.
record yoga classes, small sequence to work out something. So it's very easy to go in that direction. And so you must be very conscious what you want to show to the world.
Mhm.
And it's not easy to do OnlyFans just with yoga.
Yeah, you know, so since we've already started going that direction, like, do you have any pro tips for anybody who's looking to start an OnlyFans that's presenting yoga? Because we already said it, like I think you and I agree, like just be super careful of what you're putting out in the universe. If it's yoga, be yoga. If it's gonna be sex, be sex. You can blend the two, but let's not bait people. Let's not pretend this is a yoga site where all of a sudden, you know, because you might confuse people who also want to learn naked yoga. It's like, oh, there is a sexual component to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's what,
Sex.
right. It doesn't mean that that's that's what you're gonna get at once you wait a good 15 minutes, we're gonna do this. You know, it's almost like, what was your ulterior motive? Did you want to teach me yoga? Or did you want me to, you know, or did you want to teach me how to get off?
That's it. That's the problem. And the other day, there was a guy that put on closed friends, should I open an OnlyFans? And I know him for quite a long time. And I told him, I have an OnlyFans too, if you want to make a partnership and do some content together. Oh, and he asked me for tips. And I told him, be careful to not go so easy for the sex. Um, Try to find a thing that only you are doing, that you are special doing it, and go in that direction. And of course you can put some more sexual videos, but try to find that line that you want to keep during the OnlyFans record content. That line, you have to take care of not moving too far, because when you get involved in the sex part, it's very difficult to return again to that line. Of course, if you want to show just sex, go ahead, but you need to be present in your mind that that is going to be forever in the internet.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I find sexy guys who are putting out sexual content who practice yoga. I love that. You know what I mean? Like I love yoga being part of somebody's life as opposed to, you know, I'm doing yoga, not watch me masturbate. I'm okay with that. Like, show me all the things. I can handle it. Like, I get the
Hmm.
difference because I'm an entrepreneur and a hustler. I can go where the money's at, except when I feel like it's going to compromise my brand. So, and talking to you right now, I think that asking you for pro tips for those of you who are looking to start an online platform like OnlyFans, know your brand, know exactly who you are, know exactly what you represent so that you're putting stuff out there that is from your heart, because people will know if you're not being genuine, you know.
Yes, and there's no problem to follow some fans' ideas. For example, there was one guy that asked me about content with feet. I'm not into feet. So I make a session of poses that my feet were very close to the cam, and I put on the description for my followers that love my feet. I'm showing my feet in the poses, and so it's yoga, it's sexual for them, and I'm not very far away of my line that I'm doing it. And last summer, I think one guy asked me about show more your morning wood. So I put a photo of my morning wood. I was on vacation with my boyfriend, and I put on the description, do you want to see a practice with morning wood? And a lot of people say yes. So
Yes.
I recorded a class and was very, very the content very famous on my OnlyFans. So I was waking up off my bed with the morning wood, and I start doing some yoga to put the energy flowing through the body. And so it's sexual, but not sex, and it's yoga in the same way.
Yeah.
And my fans loved, and you have to record more of this. You have to record more of this.
Well, Lino, not only is it sexy, it's very fascinating to see the two blend. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's one thing to like have enjoy your body, and it's another to just say just for the sake of like a turn on. I think there's something visually stunning. And if you and I talked about this a long time ago, it's like if you want to look at naked guys as your fetish, if they're doing yoga, that's your fetish. I don't care how you respond to it. It's still my job to put out something that's not shocking, but like you don't usually see yoga in this way. You see it on the mat, but you don't see it performed in a sense like somebody's aroused, somebody, whatever. To me, my line, as far as the way I see it, as long as there's not another person that is interacting with you in a sexual way, it is a yoga practice, as far as I'm concerned, because it's not you're not being what is it? What I'm losing my words here. When you're not distracted by another
Mhm.
presence, and you're not distracted by this idea of turning somebody on, but knowing that what you're doing is it feels amazing. It feels amazing and it's new. I don't know how many times I've always asked y'all, can you like drink coffee with the boner? You know what I mean? Like, I want people to see like this is the guy's functionality. We do get aroused, and yes, it is sexy, but in the context of me reading a newspaper, it's amazing. It's that to me is more next level than it is like, oh great, another guy jacking up for 3 minutes. And so yes, put your sensuality out there. I always like push the envelope a little bit in terms of like give me something that not turns me on sexually but turns me on visually. And again, if I get turned on visually and how I choose to respond to that, that's not my thing. But I want people to see images of like, especially when you're a yoga teacher or a yogi, like we're not just on the mat pranayama and do sun
Yes, we have a
salutation.
life.
We have a life. And sometimes we have a sexy life and sometimes we have a boring life. But I want to show people, for me, like yoga is everywhere and it's everything. That's what yoga means. It's all here,
Yes.
and yeah,
Normally I say to my students, you learn on the mat to apply on your life.
yeah, of your life. Exactly. And that's what we do. We practice to teach you what it means to bring it all together. That's the whole thing. I was talking to somebody the other day about like I gave them a tour of the yoga studio, and I told them, and then I showed them the room, and I said, I have a podcast room. Look at this, and they're like, "Oh my god!" In your yoga studio, and there's a section in the office, and I'm like, "Yeah, we just don't do yoga per se in terms of like yoga practice." Um, I told her like Yoga Belly has been around for 15 years. We are not here to convert you or transform you. I am a hot mess. I realize there's a lot of people who are hot messes. I think as a yoga teacher, I teach you not to become messier.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Like be messy, but also learn to drive your messy and don't let that mess take over you, you know?
Love it.
So
I love it, that description.
I know, right? We're all a hot mess. Let me teach you
Yes.
not to get messier. That's all. Oh my goodness. Lino, thank you so much for spending time with me. I know that you have to go to the party. Please wish your happy 70th birthday, Yogi, well wishes for me.
Yes. It's going to be a party full of Americans because the Americans
Yeah.
start in love with Lisbon, and we are full of Americans here right now. So the party is going to be full of people from
Yeah.
the United States.
It's all Madonna's fault.
Yes, I think.
She started that.
Yes. No, I think it was Bonnie Tyler many years ago.
Wow.
Yes, Bonnie Tyler lived in Algarve. I don't know, probably for 30 years, I think.
Wow.
And
Okay.
there's one guy from England too. He's famous. I don't want to mistake his name.
Mm-hmm.
And many years later, Luke Evans, it's always in Lisbon, the
Oh,
hot guy.
oh
Yes,
wow.
he's always
Yeah.
in Lisbon.
He's a country
And
singer.
no, Luke Evans, the actor,
Look at it. I have to like look him up. Okay. Okay.
he made Dracula, and the Michael Fassbender. He has
Oh.
a house in
Mm,
Lisbon too.
one for his
There's a lot
penis.
of there's a
There's
lot
this,
of
yeah.
people.
Michael has his house and one for his peanuts.
Who knows? Someday he comes to my class. Who knows?
Oh, that'd be amazing. Let's put that out there. Put that out there. That's great. Lino, please don't be a stranger. I know it's been a while since we talked, but I forget like how much I enjoy your company, man. Well, no, I don't forget.
Thank
I just
you.
don't have, yeah, I just been so busy. You've been so busy. Please give your man my love. I miss and adore him as well. And
I'll
let's
send
connect
you.
again soon, man. Let's collab and do something crazy in 2025, okay?
Okay. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna put your
Promise.
tell real quick. I'm gonna put our captions. How do people follow you? Website, like tell me all the things so I can put it on the description.
So my website, it's nakedyoga, .com, but naked don't have the A. So as it's nkidyoga.com, because Google don't
And
like naked words.
kidyoga.com.
nkidyoga.com. I have my Instagram. I have my personal account that is Lino underscore Nataraj underscore Martins. Or if you search on Instagram, Naked Yoga Man Portugal, there's two. Lino underscore Nataraj on Twitter and on Blue Sky too.
Okay, yeah, I'll put all the things, man.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I will talk with you again very soon. Okay.
Okay, send me
Love from
message every time you want.
you. Got it. Love from California.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
All right, dude, that's all for this episode. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please remember to subscribe. And if you want to plug into the Men of Yoga community even more deeply, you can follow us on Instagram and or Facebook. Links are in the description. And also leave us some comments. Let us know what you liked about the episode, as well as what other juicy topics you'd like for us to open up and explore, because it all gets to be here. All right. So go have a great day on and off the mat, and hopefully we'll see you next time.